Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Keebs. I'm here today with Allie.
Hello.
Also known as my girlfriend.
Hello.
We don't really have a topic to discuss. This is like the third time that we've tried to record this podcast, and each time we've had a theme, we've had an outline. So we're just going to go into this with no topics, and we're just going to raw dog it and see what happens and see where the conversation takes us. So yeah, buckle up because I don't know where this is going to go.
I feel like that's the best way to approach anything in life is just raw dogging, you know?
I don't know about that one. You need to wear a condom. Some people need to wear a condom.
My friend Mackenzie once referred to a man walking barefoot as raw dog in the pavement. So,
I mean, ouch. That like made me physically uncomfortable.
Am I allowed to curse?
Did you just ask if you're a curse?
Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I cuss all the time. What the fuck? Do you know who you're talking to?
I think cursing, I've always thought that like people who curse are more trustworthy. And I think that they've done studies that like cursing is actually like there's a specific part of your brain that when you curse, it's like it's a very primitive part of your brain that when you curse is activated. And they've done studies about how like that's why often people with Tourette's will curse when they have, you know, it's part of like their symptoms and whatever. And it's because that particular part of the brain has a flaw or defect or something. And I know where I'm going with this. I'm just going to stop talking and let you take over.
Well, I was looking at an actual study. I was wondering if
I'm looking up actual information.
I was looking up actual statistics. I was I wanted to know if like swearing actually would lower your blood pressure. It says some research suggests that swearing does not affect blood pressure, while other research suggests that it can actually increase your blood pressure.
Oh, really?
There you go. Don't swear, you'll die.
All right, so let's keep it on the down low. We can do some shits and some dams, but let's keep it PG-13.
Let's just keep it shits and giggles.
Shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what would you like to talk about?
There are so many things we could talk about. Have you got a celebrity crush by any chance?
Shouldn't that be something you already know about me?
Yeah, I know you have like a whole list, but
who's my number one on my list?
Isn't it like isn't it like oh god, how do I not remember this? Hold on, I'm thinking. Oh, Miss Honey from
She's
Matilda.
Not my number one.
Well, she's on your list. We're talking.
She's on my list, but she's not my number one.
Did you know? I know you know, but to anyone listening, did you know that if you've ever watched Bridget Jones' Diary, which is like one of my all-time favorite movies, Mr. Darcy's character, his girlfriend in the movie, is played by the same actress who plays Miss Honey in Matilda. That is information I have just learned in 2024. We just learned.
I feel like you're just avoiding answering the question.
Okay, I don't know. I don't remember.
Come on.
I feel put on the spot, so I'm not remembering.
Really?
Anne Hathaway.
What? Anne Hathaway's not even on my list.
Okay. Hold on, wait. Give me a second. Because I'm put on the spot. I would be able to answer otherwise. Hold on. Oh god, I know this.
Wow.
Oh my god, I know this.
Wow.
Wait, it's on the tip of my tongue. Wait.
Is it?
It is. Wait, no, tell me.
I don't know if it is.
Tell me, just tell me.
Lexa?
Oh, yes. I knew that.
God.
Lexa from the 100.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She
How did I
can
not?
be my number
Well,
one
I
all
was thinking
day.
like when I thought celebrity, I was thinking like Angelina Jolie, like a big name. So I was thinking
Oh,
like
if we're
Emily
talking
Blunt.
big names, okay.
Well,
Well,
hold on. Let's talk about Lexa for a second. I think everybody has a crush on Lexa. She is beautiful, and she died too young. They took her out way too soon, and
I
that
stopped watching
created.
the show after that. I was like, fuck
Yeah,
this show.
I think every gay person did. Tried to continue watching, but then when Clark hooked up with a man in like season like whatever, I don't even remember. It was really hard to keep track after that. But she hooked up with a man just randomly on some weird like planet that they went to. I don't know if it was a planet or a different. I don't know. But she hooked up with a man, and it really just grinded my gears. And you know, I love the straights, but that just ruined it for me. So I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, they just killing off Lexa killed it for me. I was like, fuck it. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Okay, so big name celebrity.
Mm, Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, I figured.
You couldn't even guess that. Please.
Well,
You
you've
put
talked about
fucking
Olivia
Anne
Wilde
Hathaway
before.
on my fucking list. And listen, she's not my type. She's not nowhere near my list.
Okay, who is okay? If you think
Kristen
that,
Stewart.
oh my God,
That was the
well, that's just
easiest
because I
fucking
talk
question of the
about her a
night.
lot. I don't remember the last time you've mentioned Olivia Wilde. I don't remember.
You don't ask me.
Well, we don't talk about it. You're
I
not
also
open
don't.
about.
I am also classy. I'm very
I know
demure.
you're
Demure.
very very
I'm very classy.
very mindful.
Very mindful.
Yeah,
Very
you
demure.
are, and I like that about you.
Yeah. So I don't sit there and drool. I'm not sitting in a puddle of my own drool over
Is that what
Olivia
you think
Wilde
that
like
I
you are
do?
with Kristen Stewart.
Is that what I do?
Yes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I mean, just one watch through of Love Lies Bleeding, and now I'm getting accused of drooling.
You do. The second she said baby, you're like, oh, daddy.
Oh, daddy.
You literally were. You're like, oh my God, mommy.
No, I only call you daddy. Okay, so your celebrity crush, would you I guess I asking myself this question, would I give you a pass for your celebrity crush? The answer is no. I'm going to just say. And so now the question goes to you.
What?
I guess I should
What the fuck was that?
I guess I should have asked you first.
I am so confused.
Would you give your partner a pass to sleep with their celebrity crush? Like if you know, Kristen Stewart just walked into the room and was like, "Hey, Allie, I'm going to go in the other room and, you know, do it." Would you just say, "Yeah, go ahead." What? Why?
I mean, as long as she's clean, you know? Fuck
Wow.
it. Whatever.
Wow.
Everyone's got a celebrity pass list.
Yeah, but I mean, if she actually walked into the room, like it was an actual.
She actually walked in the room and she thought she could woo you better than me. Go for it.
I feel like you're not jealous. You just have like, you have that Aquarius like confidence that you're just like, you're like, I don't need to be jealous. Look at me.
No.
Not look at me, but like, I don't need to be jealous. Just listen to the sound of my voice and how intelligent I am. And
You mean confidence?
yes. Yeah, confidence.
Well, yes, I am confident, but I'm also like, whatever. Like, a celebrity pass is a celebrity pass. Like, everyone's got it.
That's questionable.
Why?
That's really questionable because I feel like I would want you to be like, no, she's mine.
Yeah, because you want me jealous. You always want me jealous. And I'm not a jealous bee.
You're not a what?
I'm not a jealous bee.
Bee? Like bzzz.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm not jealous at all, so I try to be jealous. It just doesn't, it's just me faking it. I can't do it.
Yeah. I'm naturally, I think.
Jealous?
Yes. Well, I'm like territorial. I like to protect my people in my circle, which is very, very small. But also, it's not just people in my circle. It's just like anybody. Like I can get protective over complete strangers because I'm like, if I see them being mistreated in some way, because I have this like weird.
I think protective and jealousy is different.
Yeah. I can be both. I can be both. I'm a strong balance, I think.
Yeah, sure.
I try to stay balanced.
Well,
But I think it can be a strength and a weakness because like jealousy is the thing that prompts my territorialness, because otherwise I'd just be like, whatever, I don't care, do whatever. But it also prompts that, like, it comes from that place of injusticeness that's within me. Like I just hate seeing people treated as less than, and other people and myself. Like I don't want there to be like hierarchies or inequality. And so because of that, I have this fierceness of like, you have to respect other people and me. Like, you know, we all have to be equal on the same level. And I've heard that a lot of Leos are like that. Like, and that can lead to Leos having really, really big egos or perceived big egos. But a lot of times it's just this need for not only other people to be considered equal, but myself as well. Like you need to treat me like a queen and I will treat you like a queen as well. Although we like being treated as queens a lot. So there's that.
Yeah, I think you're mostly jealous over protectiveness.
Okay, new topic.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Okay. What the fuck was the new L Word show, Generation Q? What was that? What was it? What did we do? Or do we want to talk about this?
For some reason, I was thinking about the new Sex and the City, and
we can talk about that too, because that's whoa.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Why did Carrie become a prude? Like, when did she?
The episode we watched last night where she was at that party with
Oh yeah,
with like the 20-something-year-old, and then she made out with a chick, and she was like, "Oh my god, I never saw him again after that," because like she kissed a chick, and like she was so uncomfortable the whole time being around like different sexualities, and she just wasn't comfortable and like made a huge thing about it. That whole episode was a wild ride, honestly.
I know.
Because they covered everything. They went over sexualities, they went over interracial couples, they went over what else did they did something else.
So let's just explain the episode. So it's in, what is it, season, what are we in, season 3?
I can't keep up.
It's the Aiden season. Everyone knows, like, when Aiden comes on the scene, we know what's gonna happen. She's gonna cheat on Aiden, which, talk about morals. Like, she's over there like judging everybody, and yet she's sleeping with Big at the Ritz while he's married to Natasha. But that's just a whole other story. But so the episode in question, so Carrie like ends up dating this guy who's bisexual, and when she finds out, she was like, "Oh, so you've been with a man?" Like, she's very uncomfortable by the idea. And of course this is like the 2000s, but still, like, it's just a very weird episode because like Samantha's storyline is like she's dating a black guy, which is this is like the first time in the show, I think, in like several seasons, that we see them dating a non-white man. So that's weird to begin with.
I don't remember them dating. They didn't really do interracial relationships at all until this one episode.
Yeah, it's literally one episode.
I mean, we could be wrong, but like this is what our third time watching all of the seasons.
Yeah.
And like
they did a better representation of height difference with men, because Samantha dates that guy who's shorter, and he's like, what I make up for what I lack in height, I make up for in length and bed or whatever.
Yeah, she actually dated him for several episodes.
And they really represented the short king community there, and that was really good. But then when it came to like representation of people of color, all of a sudden, and the queer community or the gay community, all of a sudden they were just like, let's just offend everyone.
Well, they like did it all in one episode, and like they didn't even like with the short guy episode, they stretched that out over like several episodes. Like she dated him for a while.
Yeah.
And then but like with this particular episode that we're talking about, he only lasted like half the episode. Okay, maybe a little bit long. He didn't make it past that episode. And then they wrote him out of it, and I was like, that was very abrupt and just like, why? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean,
weird.
he was the brother of like one of their friends, and they turned it into like the friend came up to Samantha and was like, I don't want you dating my brother because you're white, and they turned it into this like reverse racism thing. Like Samantha was the victim, and I was like, what is happening
here? The whole time watching it, I was just uncomfortable. I was like, this is so weird.
It was very embarrassing for like, and I'm sure that's why in the new one
they really try to overcompensate,
like, right? And that's also something that makes me uncomfortable when they're like trying to overcompensate and like really hit it home. Oh, that we're all accepting, and I'm like, okay, we get it. You're accepting of like people who are different than you. Okay, cool. Like you don't have to shove it down my throat. You just have to represent it properly, like, and not in a cringy or like inappropriate way. But yeah, but Carrie has just been, she's just problematic, I think, throughout the whole show. But yeah, throughout that episode in question, she's like, she goes to that party and she's like, some of the like her boyfriend has dated one of the guys, and then that guy was married to one of the girls who's now in a lesbian relationship, and she's like, I just can't keep it all straight. And I'm just like, you can't keep your fucking love life straight, Carrie. Like, come on. Like, you can't figure out if you love Big, if you hate him.
I just don't like Carrie. I feel like even though they like made her the main character, she was not the main character for me. The main character for me was definitely Samantha.
Yeah, Samantha was the main character.
She carried the whole show on her back. And then when she did not come back to the show, it was just shit.
I honestly feel like Miranda could have been the main character. Like,
I don't know.
You know, it was what it was. But the new series,
Charlotte could have been a main character.
Yeah, Charlotte was just like very charming, and like she was kind of prudish throughout the whole thing.
Well,
but
that was
like
her character,
thing. Right?
Her whole character was being prude. Like, so, like, if she would have done what Carrie did, I wouldn't have been surprised. Right? But Carrie was like, she was made out to be like this person that was like so edgy and like a city girl. She like did everything. She went to the nightclub. She got out of her bed at like 3 a.m. and went to the club because she could. Like they like made her into this person that like shouldn't, in my opinion, shouldn't have been cringing at other people's sexualities. It was just really fucking weird. I don't know.
And then in the new one, I remember her hanging, like, don't get me wrong, Che's character, I think, made a lot of people in the LGBTQ community angry for multiple different reasons.
Really? Did that really happen?
Yeah, people just for some reason did not like Che's character. Well, I say for some reason. They dedicated, in the first season, they dedicated so much time, remember, to them doing stand up.
Yeah, their stand up. Oh god, it was so hard to watch.
I mean, like
good on them for trying, I guess, but
like if that's your passion and you want to keep working at it, you do that. Yeah, you know, but don't subject us to it. You know, you need your practice in before you put that on HBO Classic, but, or you know, like Max.
They didn't get funnier either by the next season, so I was like, what's happening? I don't know.
I saw interviews with God, I can't remember their real name. I'm so sorry, but I can't remember. But I saw interviews with them and they were like really, they weren't happy about the fact that literally everyone hated Che's character, but they were just, Che was so problematic and like broke up Miranda's marriage and then moved her out to LA and was like, oh, just kidding. I'm gonna, I can't commit. And
Yeah.
then I'm gonna get mad at you for your phone going off in my taping. And I've been mean to you about the taping. Anyway, it was just all problematic.
I don't, yeah, I just feel like, I mean, I'm sure those situations happen. Um, it was just, I just
It
feel
was a
like
lot.
they could have done it better. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what was the new L word
Yeah. Oh,
thing?
yeah. I don't know if I watched like all of the, wait, did they discontinue it?
I think I think that might have been the last season. And, I think it should have been.
I don't remember what happened.
So, Bet and Tina sort of started another relationship, like a new thing. Like they
Oh,
kissed at the end of the
yeah.
first season. And then in the second season, didn't
Right.
they? I think they got back together.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And then they were going to like move to like, I don't know if they were going to move to New York or where, but, but yeah. And then the one character, the one with the blonde hair that said Xiao Xiao.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't remember their name.
It's something like Riley or
Wow,
Kai
never
or
would. I don't think it was
I
Kai.
thought
I
it was
think
like
it
a
was
gender
closer to.
neutral name, like a anyway, they were like they got back together with that one girl and then their mom came into town, remember, and
Right,
they
right,
had
right.
Thanksgiving at the bar. I don't know.
Right.
It didn't have the same magic as the original L Word and it just was very disappointing. And
Well,
it
that's
just
usually what happens with reboots. Like,
yeah.
it's not gonna have the same magic as like the original, and that's like the same with Sex and the City. Like, they should not have rebooted it. I don't understand why they rebooted it. Like, there's just some shows that they, like, what with the L Word. Once they killed Dana off, like
Oh, Dana.
they need. I think I read somewhere that the director was like, if I would have known that it was gonna have that big of an impact on people, we wouldn't have killed her off so quickly, which is fucked up. Like, maybe not kill her off at all. I don't know, but like, yeah, I don't know. But I guess it also kind of shaped Alice's character and made her who she was. But it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't great.
Well, I think like I mean the L Word was one of the first shows that I ever watched like when I came out. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of like entertainment out there that had gay representation or trans representation. Definitely not trans, but gay representation even like it just wasn't there. And I mean there were some like the movie Imagine Me and You was one of the best things to ever grace our screen, but there was nothing else really like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a part of our it wasn't part of our world, and so like the L Word was like the first show and it was like very open and like very sexual and like I was like, oh wow, they're just like talking about sex, like gay sex, and it's normal. And oh, is this what LA is really like? Because I'm in South Georgia, like it's. I'm like, is the world really like this? Oh wow, like I was so sheltered. So like the L Word was like a beacon of hope for like gay little gaybies like me.
I feel like
And
I didn't look at it as a beacon of hope. I was just kind of like, okay, so like when I watched it, I was in college. What's funny is I actually learned about it because people kept coming up to me and telling me I look like Shane. Like,
you do look
eventually I
like
just snapped and I was like, who the fuck is Shane? Like, I have no idea who this person is. And so I looked it up and I ended up binge watching it with my girlfriend at the time. And I I don't know, like it turned into my comfort show for a while, but like I never looked at it and was like, yeah, this is my beacon of hope, because when I watched it, I was very like, I don't want to say I was in the club scene, but I was like downtown a lot. I live downtown, so like I was going to bars and stuff like that. So, but what's sad is like um Atlanta just doesn't have um like a gay bar scene, or at least it didn't back then. Like I think there was only like one lesbian bar, and I went to it a few times and it was really run down. It was not great. And then I think it closed several years later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just was like, I guess the I just looked at the L word and was like, damn, I kind of wish it was really like that. Like, but I knew it wasn't like that. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm
Yeah,
just
well, I feel like maybe in bigger cities it's like that, like LA or New York.
but I feel like Atlanta Atlanta turned into like the second LA. Like that was like the nickname for Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
because they started filming The Walking Dead there, and like there's like a huge LGBTQIA community there, and like Pride is always crazy. I loved Pride in Atlanta. Um but there was just never really, I mean, there's gay bars, but there's not like specifically like lesbian bars.
Mm-hmm.
Um I don't know. Someone needs to open up a Dana's in Atlanta. I'd go.
A planet.
Or the Planet, yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of gays in Atlanta, but it's like putting it's like putting a lamp in a really dark room. You know, you still have all of this like Georgia is still a pretty um anti LGBT state.
Really? Wasn't it blue last
Yeah,
election?
well, it's yeah, but 60% of everyone who lives in Georgia lives in Atlanta. And again, it's like, you know, you have a lot of open-mindedness, but you also have a lot of non-open-mindedness. So, while there's still like a ton of people who are like pro LGBT, you still have a lot of people who are against it. Whereas if you go someplace like California in LA, everyone's gay. Like everyone there is gay. Everyone in the entertainment industry and like corporate as well. I assume like you're gonna, not everyone, but like it's gonna be, you're gonna have more representation in more areas, and like I feel like you have less of that pushback because even the government is very like in that state is a lot more liberal and has been blue a lot longer. So like the scene there is I mean, I've never been to LA, so I can't say, but from what I hear from people I've known who live in LA and from the movies I watch, it's much more of like, it's much more of like, oh, it doesn't really matter if
I
you're
mean,
gay. It's
yeah,
much
it's
more
like
expected if you are gay than if you aren't gay.
it's a whole other world over there.
Yeah, which is why it'd be nice to go there someday to see what it's
Eh,
actually like. But yeah,
eh.
for me, it was like, I just know I didn't go to a bar until I was like in college, and I went to college in like small town Kentucky, and there was like maybe a few gay people in the entire town that were actually out. And if you wanted to find someone gay, you had to go on like Plenty of Fish, or this was before Tinder, y'all. Okay,
Yeah.
we didn't have Tinder. What's Tinder? And if we did have it, I'd just not heard about it, I guess, yet. But I was on like Plenty of Fish, and I caught some nasty ones on Plenty of Fish, and I mean their personalities. Like there was just some weird people on that dating site.
I tried Plenty of Fish.
That was a terrible experience.
I tried Plenty of Fish. Like, I had a profile on there. I bet I still have it. I bet I could find it.
I wish I could
But
find
like,
mine.
guys would like, I would mark my profile as I just wanted to talk to girls, and guys would still somehow be able to message me, and I was like, fuck this shit. And I switched over to OkCupid, and that's when I found my ex, who was in a relationship but looking for friendship, and my dumbass was like,
Red flag, where?
my dumbass was like, oh yeah, that takes the pressure off of like chatting with her, so like we can just be friends. Like, cool.
I could just get to know her while she's in a relationship, and then we can
Yeah.
date.
Well, I wasn't gonna date her, but like I honestly like I thought she was cute, but like I didn't really think much. Like I didn't think I would have like a sexual attraction to her. And then I started talking to her, and I then like really liked her personality, and I was like, fuck. And that's when trouble started. So, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I met my ex on Plenty of Fish. So
I don't think you told me what site it was, but I think you did tell me you met her on a dating app.
yeah, and I always forget that, but like it was one of those situations like with you kind of where they send you a message and you either don't see it or you just don't respond for a while. And that was a situation where she had messaged me and like I hadn't logged in like a month. And I went and logged in and I saw that she had messaged me and her pictures made her look like a fuckboy, but I was like, why not? And so I messaged her, but she seemed really unenthusiastic. And then we started text. I can't believe I'm remembering this.
She was probably salty that you took so long to respond.
I'm sensing resentment.
Well, I mean, you did ignore me too.
Well, you know what? I've been burned. So
No, you thought I was fucking like 19 years old.
Yeah, I thought you were a baby, that you were a baby gay. And I was like, I'm not teaching her how to come out of the closet. I'm not doing it. I've been out of the closet for like 10 years. I'm done. Like, I can't hold your hand and pull you out. I can't.
Little did you know that I was older than you.
Huh?
I said, little did you know that I was older than you.
Yes. And I love cougars. So, you know, that was a plus. Like 2 years. But yeah, I was like, we had messaged, but she didn't seem that interested at all. And then I was like, we exchanged numbers and I didn't think I would hear from her. And then I heard from her and we started texting. And then I want to say we talked on the phone. I think we talked on the phone. Oh, yeah, we had to. You know what? I don't remember a lot of those conversations. I do remember when we first started dating, though, she got really mad at me at the time. Okay, this might be a red flag, but I used to be a Christian. I used to be like a really strong, I grew up in that, in that like very strict Christian family. And so at the time in college, I was like still very like suffering from like internalized homophobia and like all this stuff. And so I was still identified with the Christian faith. And so at the time I told her, I was like, yeah, my, you know, God's number one, Jesus and God number one. And then like, you know, the other people in my life, you know, like my mom, my dad, and like you and like whatever. And it wasn't like an order of events like God, Jesus, her, my parents, or my parents, her. It was just like God and Jesus are like number one. And she was like, she and the people in my life were underneath that. And she got mad because I put Jesus first. And I think that was weird. That could have been a red flag, but I don't know.
So your ex got mad because you put Jesus first?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you know, we were like early 20s. Like we were young. We were babies. So I don't really hold fault for anything that happens before the age of 27 with people anymore. I'm just kind of like, your brain's still developing. Like, you know, we're still learning.
I think your brain's fully developed at 25.
Yeah, 25. But I give 2 years after the fact to really realize it's developed and like hold yourself accountable, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a pretty shitty person when I was 27, so.
I think we all were. I feel like you don't really start to get your life together until you hit 30.
I feel like I was starting to get my life together before it all fell apart. But then I started picking up the pieces again when I hit 30.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think when it fell apart, I turned into a very shitty human being.
Well, life's a journey.
let's end this podcast with a fun story.
Ooh, story time.
No, I'm gonna ask you.
Oh, okay. I love telling stories.
I know you do.
I'm a writer, you know.
Tell me the worst date you've ever been on.
With which gender?
I don't know. You pick one. You choose.
I don't think I only went on a few dates with guys. I think one of the worst dates, the first one that popped into my head was a date that I went on with a girl that I met. I think that I met her on Tinder. And I had just moved back to Virginia. And I don't mean like the DC, Virginia, not like Alexandria. Like Alexandria is like right outside of DC. And I had been living in DC when the pandemic happened, and then I moved back home to Virginia. And like Appalachia, Virginia. Appalachia. And this was in the mountains. Okay. Lots of weird shit happens in the mountains. Lots of weird people in the mountains. It is way different than Georgia. And so I had gone on Tinder to try to find like something because I was just deprived. There was nothing out there. And so I ended up like matching with this one girl. I, to this day, don't remember her name. I don't want to remember her name. I will never, ever want to recall her identity. So we met up. I don't think we met up anywhere. I think that I just went to her house, which is dangerous to begin with, but that was just what I decided to do.
Don't ever do that. That's awful.
I did a lot of sketchy stuff in the past, and I would not recommend it to anybody. But that's just how desperate I was. Like, I was so lonely. And so I go to meet up with this girl, and from her pictures, she seemed kind of nice. Like, she seemed like she was pretty. She's brunette, like kind of a little bit shorter than me, actually. And so I go to her house, and it's like a pretty, like, it's not a like really fancy house, but it's not like a trailer. It's kind of like regular house. And she meets me outside, and it's like dusk, you know, it's starting to get dark. And it was like maybe like 30-45 minutes away, which was a bad idea anyway. So we ended up like, I go into her house. She still lived with her mom, which I think I knew before I got there because I was also staying with my parents. I did not know that she had a child there with her, and it was her child.
Oh, I was gonna say, was it hers?
Oh yeah, it was hers, and it was a little boy, I think. I don't recall the gender. It doesn't matter. It was just running around, and it was there, and that was enough to freak me out. And then her mother, I ended up talking with her mom about like aliens or something, and we ended up going on the back deck and like smoking a cigarette with her mom. At the time I smoked cigarettes. Don't do that, it's bad for you. And then we went back inside and we talked with her mom for what felt like ever. Like, it felt like it was never going to end. So then we leave her child on the main floor and we go up to her bedroom, which the thing that scared me the most about this girl, like, there were several things that scared me. First off, that she had a kid. Second off, that when we got up to her room and we actually started talking and stuff, I found out that she was still married to the guy who she birthed this child with, and that was freaky.
Sound like my bus story.
Yeah, it might have been the same girl, honestly. The thing that scared me the most about, and I still think about this to this day, this girl's room, like, it was this weird like attic room, and it was kind of like dingy and old, like old flooring, you know, like wood floor. There was almost like the rest of the house had stuff in it, but this room had barely any items in it. Like, it was really, there was like I think like a bookshelf and her bed. And there was maybe like a small table by the bed with like a few objects on it and like a few objects in the thing. And she was like, she showed me something in the closet that was like a stack of like a few DVDs or something. And that was all the possessions she had there. And I was like, this is a red flag. This bitch don't even live here. She just convinced this old lady that she's part of the family. And now this is the place where she is going to unalive me. This will be the last location I inhabit on this earth. But I stayed, of course, as one does. And we talked about her husband and her child and other things that made me uncomfortable. But this was the thing that part scared me a lot. But the thing actually that scared me the most was when I said, okay, I need to go. It's like getting late. I got to drive back, all this good stuff. So I get up to leave and she's like, okay, bye. And gives me this hug. And, you know, as I'm a femme and I used to date femmes, but I think it was right around this time I was starting to realize I needed a mask. I didn't realize how much I needed a mask until I met the lovely Keebs / Jess over there. But tell me why I went to hug her. Okay. And it was, you know, it was one of those hugs you hug and it's like, okay, bye. And it's like extended and you know, you're going to kiss because you can just feel how long and how sensual
It's
the
so
hug
awkward. I hate that.
And then we pull back, you know, and then we start kissing. And it wasn't bad. It was like very, very like ferocious kissing. Like just, we just started going at it, right? But the most terrifying aspect of this situation was that whenever I would pull back for a breath, because, you know, you have little breaks in between the kissing to kind of like pull back and look at them and be like, hi, you're pretty, I'm pretty, let's kiss again. But when I pulled back, she giggled. And it freaked me out. It was really weird.
Is it like one of those like horror movie
giggles?
It
was like a
oh God, like I'm gonna pull
and she
a
was
knife
like
out of
shorter than me, so she was like looking up at me, and there were like shadows on her eyelids, and it was, oh my God, it freaked me out. It freaked me out so bad. I kissed her again to make it just make it stop.
Oh God, I would have just left.
And I was just like, yeah, I could have done that, but I was also just feeling the social awkwardness. And I was like, if I kiss her, it'll make it stop. And then after a few more instances of that, I was like, okay, I got to go out to my car. So we went out to my car and she kept trying to kiss me again. Well, we did kiss again and she kept pulling back and doing that giggle thing. And I was out of there.
You should
so
have been
fast.
out when you found out she had a kid and was married.
She kept trying to make me, she was like, you'll come back, right? We'll go. She wanted me to do something with her. I can't remember what, but she wanted me to do some event with her. And I was like, oh yeah, totally. I'll come back for that. I blocked her so fast.
Yeah. Not surprised.
That was probably one of the worst dates I've ever been on.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end.
I feel like the bus lady probably would have ended up like that if I kissed her, but I did not.
Why don't you tell your story?
You know the story. I've told this story so many times. I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are listening have probably heard the story, but
tell it again for your podcast.
All right, I'll tell it again. So right after I got out of my a little over 6 year relationship, I didn't want to download Tinder and I didn't want to download like a lot of the dating apps. So I tried Bumble. I hadn't heard anything about it before. It seemed like it was pretty new. And I found this chick and I was like, oh, she's cute. And it said has a kid, and then like in the parentheses it had an S, so like kids. So I was like, oh, she probably has one kid. Like, I'm not against dating somebody who has a kid. So I was, whatever, I messaged her and she messaged me back later that day, and apparently she lived down the road from me and I had no idea. And so we had planned to go meet up at a Taco Mac, and I get there and of course, like, this is also like a Taco Mac that I've never had an issue with, like service wise, but this particular time the service was awful and I needed it to be better because I needed to be rescued. We got there and like or I got there alone and I got a table and waited for her. She shows up and like we hugged or whatever, and she sits down. We start talking, like just the normal like date stuff. And then like she was like, she had said something and like it quickly. It was like in passing about having to do something with a kid. And so naturally, I just was like, yeah, so like, what's your kid's name? And she then like starts listing all of her kids' names. She had like 6 and she was about to adopt a 7th, and she was also still married. And after she told me that, I immediately like shut down. and I was like, oh, okay. It got so awkward. We started talking about, I've never done this on a date. We started talking about the architecture of the Taco Mac. Like, so, and I tried to get the bill while she was in the bathroom, but like my waitress was like nowhere to be found, and I had to sit there and just awkwardly make conversation for like an hour with her. And eventually I finally get the check. I just was like, here, I don't even want you to walk away, waitress. Take my card. Just put it all on there. Don't even try and separate it. I don't like, I didn't say this, but I was thinking, I was like, I don't want to spend any more time at this table, so just put it all on the card. I'll eat the cost. I don't care. And so we start walking out to the parking lot, and thankfully we walked up to my car first, and I was like, well, this is me. And she's like, and I did like the awkward like bending my knees and like pointing with my thumbs like, this is me. And she's like, oh, I'm over there. And she like points at this big ass bus. It was like one of those Mercedes buses. And she's like, do you want to come look at my bus? And I was like, that's a fucking weird question. I was like, no, I'm good. I gotta go. I got shit I gotta do. Sorry. And like, yeah, that was like the weirdest day. And then like when I got home, she texted me. She's like, thank you for paying for me tonight. We should do it again. I was like, yeah, totally. And then I blocked her. And yeah, sometimes I think I could have been human trafficked if I would have went and looked at her van. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, that was like the worst date I would probably ever. Well, yeah, it was probably that was probably the worst date I've ever been on. I was thinking about this one date I went on in high school with this guy, and he was like munching on some waffles and spit was going. That wasn't. That was just gross. It wasn't as bad as the van lady. Van lady was interesting.
This is the first time this has crossed my mind, but I was like, oh, maybe she wanted to have sex with you in the van.
Oh.
That's like the first time I've ever considered that, because I'm like, of course she wanted to unalive you. Like that's been the only thing on my radar. But I guess like she was like, you want to come see my van? And then you guys would have done it in the van.
Oh.
How are we just now thinking of this?
Yeah, this date happened like 8 or 9 years ago. Or maybe not 9 years ago. It's been a long fucking time.
That's crazy.
No, it wasn't 8 or 9. What am I talking about? It was not 8 or 9 years ago. This date happened like right before COVID. I was like, I had to have, oh my God, what is time anymore? It was when I was like 27-ish.
Wow, that was a while
So you do the
ago.
math. I'm 33. You do the math.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's a crazy date.
Yeah,
I've heard it before.
I've never considered the sex thing, so that's interesting. But I still wouldn't have done it because I am a lady and I don't do that. I'm classy.
Oh, that's nice.
Very classy, very mindful.
You
very
are.
demure,
You're very demure, very mindful.
Yeah. I
You
don't
are. I
don't
love
put
that
out
about
on
you.
the first date. All right, well, thanks for coming on the podcast, Allie.
No problem.
This is like the third fucking time we've recorded this.
I had fun though.
Yeah. Third time's a charm, as always.
Always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can listen to this on YouTube now or on Spotify, or if you want to be really edgy, I guess you could call it, you can listen to it on my website at keepshub.com. If you're not in the Discord, you should be, because it's open again, and I'll link it in the description. I want to say that you'll hear from me next week, but I can't make any promises because life. So if you want to know when I'm going to post again, join the Discord. So yeah. Bye.